All right, in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I want to walk through how we help this investment bank generate 11 interested leads in 2 weeks using this outbound system. They were looking for private equity companies who could help them invest in the startups that they were representing. They were operating in France in the GCC, so in the Middle East, and they were also looking for private equity companies in the Middle East. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So this firm was searching for private equity companies, investment companies, willing and able to invest in a list of GCC-based startups they're representing. But with cold outreach, it's kind of like we're going to them. So we're trying to just surface early intent, start up a conversation, see if there's business that can be done together, and then later we can continue the conversation. So this is why it was valuable to have these lists of startups, because if they didn't like the first startup, we can always pitch the other ones. So here, for example, we were running this for 2 weeks, and we were reaching out to GCC-based firms. We're reaching out to the principals, managing directors, the partners, firms actively involved in transactions. So these guys were operating in the Middle East because the firms or the startups that the firm was representing was in the Middle East. So we just felt like it made sense to target the ones in the Middle East. And, the goal was precision over volume, because we were targeting a narrower market. Now, the key thing with this outbound system is you want to keep a low sending volume, because when you're reaching out to these firms, you cannot be sending 1,000 emails per day using one email account, because what happens is that Google and Microsoft is going to start flagging you and start saying why are you sending so many emails from one email account. You cannot use Julie at pefirm.com or Julie at M&AadvisoryFirm.com, because if you send a lot from one email account, then Google's going to start flagging. So we had to create multiple email accounts to make sure that the sending volume was kept to a good level. We were sending maybe like 15 emails a day, 20 emails a day from one email account. And then once we had like 20 email accounts, 30 email accounts, it just adds up. So this is how you add up volume. And you'll notice soon the language you used was not very transactional. It was very like conversational, short, kind of warm messaging. It's designed in such a way where it's like easy to ignore, but at the same time credible enough to respond if the timing is right. So because, this firm had a list of startups, we kind of led with that. It's like, hey, we have these lists of startups. I don't know if we can do business together, but, they're looking for investors. And I just thought, I'd reach out to you. It seems like this might be a good fit. And then if they were responded positively, we would just go back and forth and go on a call. Something like, hey, John, reaching out because we're looking for investors interested in backing a Saudi IT distributor looking to raise $10 million in growth capital for expansion. They're similar to XYZ company in Saudi. We also have other projects across the GCC that need fundraising. Wondering if Saudi is something you're currently exploring. So here we're leading with this conversational approach, and we also help them visualize, right? Notice this email is very direct and it cuts through the fluff. We make it very easy to visualize what the company is because of the comparison we made in the email. So in the email, when you make this comparison, like, hey, they're similar to this company in Saudi, they start to visualize it in their head. So they prefer this kind of language because they receive like 800 pitches like this every week, and something direct like this is just a breath of fresh air. It's a low pressure call to action. It's like, okay, wondering if Saudi or GCC is something in your radar. So once they read that, it's like you're able to start the conversation versus like, hey, would you be interested in investing in this company? So low pressure call to action. We push them into a meeting, and then in the meeting, we can just have that conversation, see if they would be interested in this startup. And if not, there are also other startups that they could be interested in. And, the results speak for themselves. Like we sent around 3,000 emails. This was able to generate us a 41% positive reply rate. And this allowed for 5 meetings to be booked. So how do we interpret these numbers? Consider that these firms value their time over capital. So because, these guys will hop on a call if it makes sense. And a lot of the times they have criteria in place. So the signal in this case was not in how many reply, but who replies and how they reply. So, the key thing is because there were only a certain number of people, certain number of firms who could invest in such company. The key was who replied and how they replied. A 40% positive reply rate means there was strong targeting, there's a correct tone for the audience, and the messaging reached the right decision makers. So this basically shows with cold outreach, you're able to reach those senior decision makers directly, initiate conversations without declared intent. You can operate safely in reputation sensitive markets. and also generate meetings without brand reputation risk. So these two basically go hand in hand. When you're reaching out, there is this common, misconception that, if I'm reaching out to these people, I don't know if this is going to damage my brand reputation, all these things. But if you think about it, if the email comes from a point where it's like, I'm just trying to see if you're interested. I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm not trying to shove this down your throat. We just have these lists of startups, or I'm just looking for a list of owners because we help this owner sell their company to this US-based private equity company. Would you be interested in hopping on a call? So the value comes in the numbers. When reaching out to a market of 50,000, 60,000 owners, the results become even greater. Hence why I recommend this system to firms who operate in large markets, as campaigns usually perform better there. So that's pretty much it regarding the video. If you're looking to surface more conversations with owners, you're looking to surface more conversations with buyers, feel free to book a time using my Calendly below. But apart from that, hope this video is valuable and have a great day.